everybody going to remember him around the world. He's going to change the world.
Houston says goodbye to George Floyd, and family members say they hope his death was not in vain. And a surprise announcement on police reform right here in Houston. Plus, health officials sound the alarm about COVID-19 in the greater Houston area.
From the KHOU 11 studios, this is H-Town Rush.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us at this early hour here on H-Town Rush. We're up. We're glad you are, too. I'm Steph Simmons. We'll go over to Cheetah Craft. And, Cheetah, you and I were chatting before the show. Are we hearing word about a cold front coming soon?
Isn't that nice? Hello, front. It has arrived. It is here. It is moving through the central portion of our counties here. And along with it, it's actually producing a few showers. So let me talk about the rain. This is all connected to that front. Mainly, it's draped across I-10 eastbound, and then the showers will continue to push southward. This is it. Your day-to-day is hot, and it's really mostly dry. The change will happen with our relative humidity. So notice the north wind in College Station and in Huntsville this morning. Winds will gradually pick up, and as that front continues to work across the area, all of our southerly winds will be out of the north by 9 o'clock this morning. Temperatures dropping behind at 72 in College Station, 80s still in Sugar Land, Hobby Airport, Galveston, so you have to give it a little bit of time. This afternoon, 92, less humid. How about that for a Wednesday? We will talk more about your 7-day and this heat coming up in just a little bit, Steph.
The world watched as family and friends remembered George Floyd. His service was powerful and emotional, and now calls for change since his tragic death. Here's Marcelino Benito.
Inside Fountain of Praise Church, the Floyd family shared their grief with the world.
I thank God for giving me my own personal Superman. God bless you all.
He was a hero long before we knew his name.
He was an umbrella to all of us. He was 6'6".
Now those shoulders that were pinned to the ground are carrying the hope of a movement.
If you had any idea that preachers, white and black, was going to line up in a pandemic, when we told to stay inside and we come out and march in the streets at the risk of our health, you'd have took your knee off his neck.
Reverend Al Sharpton brought mourners to their feet.
God took the rejected stone and made him the cornerstone of a movement that's going to change the whole wide world.
Floyd's cries on that Minneapolis sidewalk ignored by 4 officers.
When he called out for his mama, we believe that the ears of mamas across this nation reared up.
But those pleas for humanity were heard by everyone else.
We honor him today because when he took his last breath, the rest of us will now be able to breathe.
This service, more than a funeral.
Now is the time for racial justice. That's the answer we must give to our children when they ask why.
It's a national call to action.
White parents have to teach their boys to be brothers to black boys. We have to teach our daughters to be sisters, whether you're black, white, or brown.
Everyone here saying this only the beginning of a journey to make our society the fair and equal one all of us deserve.
We're going to fight on. We're going to fight on. We're going to fight on.
Standing for Houston, Marcelino Benito, KHOU 11 News.
The final mile of George Floyd's procession through Houston was slow and deliberate for everyone to see. Hundreds of people camped out early to view the special hearse pulled by horses. We got a closer look at it before the funeral. We also spoke with the owner who said providing that carriage was such an honor. Here's Jason Miles.
A bit of history in a historic moment in Houston. This horse-drawn hearse delivering George Floyd to his final resting place.
I didn't want no money because this means so much to me.
Vintage Horse Carriage Rides owner Terrence Reed said he and his family volunteered their service out of respect for Floyd and his family.
It's not about me, it's not about my company, it's not about that. It's about how he was treated.
Reed's horse-drawn hearse was crafted by Amish woodworkers in Ohio and features glass windows so caskets can be viewed by mourners on either side.
The horses pulling the carriage are named Clorox and Purex, normally used to take tourists around downtown Houston. Their owners say this will be their most important mission ever.
Personally, I have 5 boys myself.
Fellow Jack Yates High School alum Sylvia Reese Gurley wanted to see the hearse in person and told me the manner of George Floyd's death is something she's feared for her own children.
I don't think all policemen are bad, but it's just the fact that laws need to be changed. They're concerned about their family. We're also concerned about ours.
She felt this was a fitting way to send Floyd to his mother's side at the cemetery, something Reed said he was beyond honored to help carry out.
He was unjustly treated, and in America, it's a sad day. We need to come together as one.
In Pearland, Jason Miles, KHOU 11 News.
Jason, thank you. And if you missed the services for George Floyd, you can watch it again online at KHOU.com, our YouTube channel, and also on our KHOU 11 Facebook page. Today, Mayor Turner will sign an executive order banning police from using chokeholds and strangleholds. Mayor Turner made that announcement while speaking at George Floyd's funeral. He said the order will also require de-escalation techniques, a warning before shooting, and that officers exhaust all alternatives before using force. Police Chief Art Acevedo told us he supports that move.
The mayor and I discussed the executive order, and a lot of the executive order is reinforcing what we're already doing. So Houston's going to lead the way.
Right now, Harris County commissioners are also considering 10 proposals on policing and criminal justice reform. Meanwhile, on the heels of all of this, the long-running reality show Cops is now canceled. Paramount Network made the decision amid all the protests against police brutality. In addition to that move, last week the show Live PD, which also follows officers on patrol, was pulled. New developments this morning about the former Minneapolis police officer charged with Floyd's murder. We heard reports that Derek Chauvin worked security at the same nightclub as Floyd. Now one man says the two men knew each other and had a history of not getting along. That's according to a guy who works security with both Floyd and Chauvin. He talked with CBS News.
What kind of history?
They bumped heads.
How?
It has a lot to do with Derek being extremely aggressive within the club with some of the patrons, which was an issue.
Chauvin is charged with second-degree murder and manslaughter. His bond has been set at $1.2 million. And we will continue to follow the George Floyd case for you. You can also download the KHOU 11 app with the latest information on that case. Now we want to get you to the latest on the coronavirus. Here are 3 things to know about today. Number 1, the World Health Organization is now clarifying statements they made about asymptomatic spread. The organization says the majority of cases reported come from people with symptoms. However, between 6% and 41% of the population may be infected without symptoms. There's still a question about how many people are asymptomatic who can actually spread the virus. Number 2, today Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will hold a news conference. He's expected to announce the Reserve may keep its key interest rate near zero, at least until 2022. He's also set to release economic projections for the first time since the pandemic started. And number 3, cases are steadily increasing. It's not what we want to hear, but there are now more than 7.1 million confirmed cases worldwide and at least 408,000 deaths. That's according to Johns Hopkins University. Half of the U.S. is seeing higher rates as more people go out to socialize. And this morning we are tracking the latest coronavirus trends here in the greater Houston area, and the numbers are moving, unfortunately, in the wrong direction. That's according to several health experts we spoke with about what they're seeing here. Here are some of the numbers that stand out. Now let's start with hospitalizations. The greater Houston area hit a record high on Monday with 614. Daily new cases began to spike 2 weeks ago, with the most ever in the region reported on Saturday with 835. As the single-day case spikes, Harris County reported 483 on Saturday. That's the most since April. Health experts say the elevated numbers coincide with the reopening of Texas. And those same experts say what's working against us is us. The head of the Houston Health Department, Dr. David Pearce, talked with our Jeremy Rogalski.
Every one of us, myself included, has a desire to go back to the way things were.
Health experts say these spikes aren't tied to the recent protests or marches. They say those cases might show up within the next few days. For updated information on the coronavirus, you can text any of the keywords you see on your screen there to 713-526-1111, and we will send you a link with updated information. All right, Cheetah Craft, is it going to be less humid today?
Yes, thankfully we have that cold front moving through right now. So we're setting the stage for our Wednesday. It's still really humid right now. Temperatures, feels like temperatures here, your heat index number, are still in the 80s and pushing 90. I mean, so still really warm and muggy. This front that is currently tracking across the area is taking its sweet time. So 70s and 80s for your actual air temperature this morning. Not much change from yesterday, but what you can expect. Because our front is moving through now, relative humidity will be dropping. By really mid to late morning, you will notice a difference, and especially this afternoon compared to what we were feeling yesterday. Morning lows beginning tomorrow will return to the 60s. Really, really nice for this time of the year. Okay, let's talk about the radar this morning. Because of that front that's currently pushing across the area, we do have some showers sparking up just in the wake with it. So as that front continues, that boundary moves across the area, that will help to drop the relative humidity. It's just taking its time. So we're tracking a little bit of rain. Most of this is draped across I-10 eastbound, but we will keep a 20% chance for an isolated shower early, and that's because the atmosphere is still fairly saturated. Mid 70s now, upper 80s by midday. Do you notice a big change here? A northerly wind. That north wind will make all the difference today and over the next couple of days. High temperatures this afternoon build to 92, so it's still going to be hot this afternoon. I mean, we're still tracking 90s, okay? We're not going to get out of the 90s, but we're talking a whole lot about less humidity. And then check it out, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we are welcoming in 60s back into the forecast to start our mornings. I'll send it back to you.
Hello, 60s. We like seeing that. It'll put everybody in a good mood this morning. Something to look forward to. And you can look forward to this coming up, 442. We have more information as protests continue across the world. We verify claims about vandalism at the 9/11 memorial in New York. Polling problems in Georgia would cause locations to close late. Plus, a major break in the case of 2 missing children in Idaho. The startling new developments just ahead.